Hey, this is Jim Katsoulis, and I want to talk about a book I just read, The Science of Enlightenment, How Meditation Works by Shinzen Young. And, I've been doing yoga for over 20 years, and I have meditated, but this book's really brought things to a whole nother level. And so I wanted to share some of the most powerful things that I learned from the book, and hopefully they can help you. This is no means a summary of the book, okay, because there's a lot of stuff in here. I read a lot of personal development books, and I can usually fly through them. This one here is taking me a couple of weeks to read because the concepts are kind of weighty for me. And so the cool benefit of reading this book is it really kickstarted my meditation practice again. And I believe it's allowed me to go deeper in my meditation than ever. Okay, and I'll explain why in a moment. What I appreciate that he's trying to do in this book, or what he is doing in this book, is that he's taking these concepts of Eastern philosophies and Christian, mystic Christian philosophies, and he's putting them into Western scientific explanations. And I really appreciate that because I have read Eastern philosophies before and I've enjoyed them and I've gotten stuff out of them, but I've always felt like I don't really get it because I'm lacking the context. I don't have the bigger picture of where they're coming from. And so when he puts it in terms of Western science, I have a much firmer understanding of that. And so I find that I got a lot more understanding what meditation is than I think I ever have. And one of the big distinctions I got was this, that he says, a lot of times people look at meditation as this calming exercise, and that's what I did. I know, if I sit and I quiet my mind, quiet my body, quiet my spirit, that's really nice and it's beneficial, and I've always loved that. But he's talking about a whole nother side to it, which is that it increases your ability to clarify who you are, okay? And so I'll read you a quote to explain what I mean. He says, meditation can give us an internal microscope with which we can explore our infrastructure at a very deep level. And so this was really appealing to me as a hypnotist and an NLP practitioner, that you could begin to understand and untangle the thoughts, beliefs, perceptions, and ideas you have unconsciously. And as you become more aware of them, it increases your ability to change them. And so I'd never thought of it that way, although even though through meditation I think I've naturally gotten some of the benefits of that. But so all of a sudden when that was on the forefront, I was really excited to meditate again because there was a whole nother benefit that I hadn't thought of before. And so that kind of kickstarted me into really going deeper into it. So he talks about the triad of mindfulness skills. And I just want to go through those real quick because that's kind of the core of his teachings. And the triad is this: concentration, sensory clarity, and equanimity. Okay, and so when you're being mindful, when you're meditating, the first step is kind of concentrate on one thing. Right? So it could be your breathing, it could be how your body feels, it could be any number of things, but you're concentrating on something. The sensory clarity, this is where it gets interesting, is you're breaking things up into a few different areas. And so the big ones that I got out of it were, if you sit quietly and you close your eyes, you're quickly going to notice that you have an internal dialogue. You're talking to yourself, you're remembering things people had said to you, you have mental images, right? Pictures come into your mind. Right? And sometimes they're memories, sometimes they're literally pictures. And then there is emotional sensations that come up, right? You have different feelings that come up. And then you have physical sensations that come up. And so one of the key ones is, your back might get sore, right? Or your leg might get sore. Then you might get frustrated about that. And then all of a sudden you're saying to yourself, what am I doing? And you're making mental images as well. And so the thing is, this is going on all the time. But what the meditation allows you to do is it allows you to kind of pull these pieces apart. And so, for example, if you get a pain in your leg, instead of running away from it and just thinking it's painful and kind of freezing up and trying to ignore it, what he would suggest is that you have a complete sensory experience of it, right? You go into that pain and you start dissecting it in a sense into these different areas, right? So what aspect of the pain is you talking to yourself, saying, oh, what am I doing? This is killing me. What part of it is you imagining your leg, hurting, and making some mental image of it, and then focusing on the physical pain and the emotional frustration that comes with it. And so as you kind of pull the different pieces apart, it gives you more ability to understand it and to kind of overcome it, as well. It changes the reality of it as you change your perception of it. And that's what a lot of the meditation is. And so then the final piece is the equanimity. And I had to look that word up. That's not a word I knew. But basically what it means is that you're giving permission for all these things to happen, good or bad. And hopefully that will lead you to be more calm when these things are going on. So you're bringing a sense of calm and a sense of peace into these situations, a sense of acceptance. And so all of these things, again, you're practicing them in this meditation, but I think very clearly you could understand that they help you in your life. You know, they truly do. And so, you know, even you go around the day and all of a sudden you start getting frustrated. Instead of just being frustrated as this big ball of emotion and experience, you can now start to pull it away to one part's emotional, one part's physical, right? When you're frustrated, you're tense. One part's mental talk, you're talking to yourself in a certain way. And one part's mental image, you know, the images you're making in your mind. And so as you can kind of pull these pieces apart, it changes how you perceive it and ultimately changes how you feel. And I think that's a really, really powerful and important skill. So, you know, there's two quotes I want to share with you, and then I want to share one quick technique with you. One quote is that the main goal in meditation is not to get to certain good states, but rather to eliminate what gets in the way of those good states. Okay, and so I find this to be an interesting paradigm because instead of thinking we have to do things to feel good, it's really a different process of kind of purification where we're looking to eliminate the physical sensation blockages, maybe the tension, the emotional blockages that get in our way of good states, our mental chatter that gets in the way of good states, and our mental images that get in the way of good states. And so the meditation is a condensed form of working through those so that you can experience more pleasant good states throughout the day that are just waiting there to be experienced. Okay, so I thought that was an interesting paradigm. And the other one is this, that when we apply concentration, clarity, and equanimity to sensory experience, moment by moment, we generate a process of insight and purification. And I have found that, again, when you practice it, meditation is almost like going to the gym. You're working out a muscle. But what happens is when you leave that gym, the muscle's still big. It's still strong for you to use. It's the same thing with the meditation. When you practice these things, I think you automatically and naturally bring them into your life, and you are able to experience more positive, good states just automatically. You know, it's certainly been the case for me anyways. And so the last thing I want to share with you is this not gone, just note gone technique, which I thought was really cool. So basically it's this. A lot of times, you know, say, I'll give you the specific example of when I experienced this. I was reading about this in a coffee shop. And this coffee shop has like a coffee grinder thing, and it's like, it bangs. And so a lot of times you're there, it's like bang, 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 bang. And it's like, it's jarring. And it frustrates me. It kind of gets me, you know, worked up every time I hear it. So the just note gone technique is, a lot of times we notice when something starts, right? So a door slams or that bang starts happening, and we know that's happening. That's what we notice. But we don't notice that disappearing and going away. And so the idea was that as soon as something catches your attention, you stay with it and watch it go. Because reality, the universe, is this constant process of creation and dissolving. And so I found this to be very practical, that when I would hear things that would, you know, annoy me or frustrate me, I would experience that for a second, but then I would wait for it to fade, because it always fades and we just don't pay attention to that part. So I found that to be really interesting. So if you play around with that, I think you may find that was one of the more interesting things that I learned, and I'd never heard of before. And I found it to be very, very practical. So again, I'm gonna button it up here. And again, this is a very short video just to describe a book that I found to be really, really good. And I would really recommend it to you if you ever had any interest in meditation. I think that he explains it in a wonderful way. Okay, and it's really can help you in so many practical ways in your life, I believe. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you check the book out. Again, The Science of Enlightenment, How Meditation Works, Shinzen Young. Really thought it was good, and have a great day.